Hey, I'm T.A. Charlie, and welcome to The Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic. Homeroom is on Rumble. You just go to Rumble and search the channels for The Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. It might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it, you can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. After the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and BitChute. Just look for The Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page, that's theroadtoconcord.com. That's where you'll find all your show notes, study notes, and handouts for the class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, email us and we'll think about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow, but he'll eventually get around to emailing you back. This show is currently mainly listener-sponsored. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, please email us. With that said, we ask for your participation on a value-for-value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who have and will support this show.
Good morning. Welcome to the Road to Concord. Today is Monday, May 25th, 2026. It is Memorial Day. I will not say Happy Memorial Day. I remember what this day is supposed to be about. So to all those brothers and sisters who served and never made it home, we salute you wherever you are. I am going to be your host, Joe Bakanovic. Today is going to be a bit of a different day. I do have my Philosoraptor shirt on, and I am wearing my Dr. Evil overshirt. Sleeves rolled up, ready to rumble. But I got to do a little housekeeping here first, or let's set the stage for what I'm planning on doing today. First things first, we're going to be going over a video that I found on YouTube. You know, that's the impetus of today. This is the show right here. It's done by a gentleman by the name of, what is his name? Warren Smith. That's this guy right here on the right. Up here in the corner is the video that we're going to be watching. I've managed to make my own cut of this. I don't think I'll get in trouble. I might. We'll see. Not trying to do anything wrong here. We'll get to this. But I need to warn you, there's going to be some language in here. And this gentleman over here on the left, let me introduce you to our protagonists. Warren Smith, this is his YouTube channel. Highly recommended. His channel is the Secret Scholar Society. Highly recommended for those of you who want to learn reasoning and critical thinking skills. He won't name the fallacies for you, but he explains things to you very well. He's a former high school teacher. This story here from American Family News. You might recognize him. He was a high school teacher and he got fired from his job several months after he encouraged a student to think for himself and examine his assumptions, but he did not go away without calling his firing unfair. And this is reading from the story. He did a video where he was talking to one of his students about the student's assumptions of author J.K. Rowling, of Harry Potter fame. And the video had 45-something million hits as of when this was written, May 23rd, 2024. And I remember when this hit the news. So this gentleman, this is probably what launched his YouTube career. But if you read this article, and I think I posted it in the comments section in the page on Rumble. If you read it, he asked the school beforehand about his videos. And the school's lawyers and everything told him, here's what you can and cannot do. And his conversation with this student and the video he posted met every requirement the school had given him. Still, the school went ahead and fired him. So that's who put this video on that I found, and that's how I stumbled across it. I watch Warren Smith's videos. So the primary actor in the video we're going to be watching is Andrew Wilson. He's a podcaster. And reading from Grokpedia here, Andrew Wilson is an American conservative podcaster, debater, and internet personality best known for hosting The Crucible, a platform that features debates on political, cultural, and religious topics, with its associated YouTube channel surpassing 312,000 subscribers. He gained wider recognition through his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, episode 2444, where he discussed his extensive involvement in online debates. Wilson's content includes archived debates, TikTok invasions, and segments on podcasts like the Whatever podcast, establishing him as a prominent figure in the conservative online discourse, distinct from other individuals sharing his name in fields like gaming and business. So there are other people by that name. He's going to be, quote unquote, debating this dude right here, Matt Dillahunty. Matt Dillahunty is a famous atheist who's well known for going to these type of debates and for anti-apologetics, et cetera, et cetera. So now this is going to be the background of our story here, our video that we're going to be watching. So what we're going to have is a video that is it's not in a vacuum. I mean, it isn't presented in a vacuum. There's a background, there's a history between these two gentlemen already. So I guess that's what I need to say. So when we jump in on it, we have to remember that there's already a little history behind them that we're not privy to. And what's going to happen is, grab some popcorn, this is going to be good. Natasha's already coming. What's going to happen here is we're going to see clips of the debate, and then we're going to see the moderator, from the video I've got here, the former teacher, and he's going to explain it. And I'm going to jump in where I think certain things could have been a little bit better done. We're going to be doing a lot of starting and stopping here. But you're going to see that there's many paths to the one truth. Okay. And this is going to be explained fairly well, but I wanted to jump on this a little more because this is going to, for me, this is good eating, man. And ultimately, at the crux of this, the atheist side, and this is at a college, and it's put on by an atheist union, so everybody in the room is hostile to Andrew. And what you have to understand is that what Andrew is opposing is not their right to believe whatever they want to believe. He's actually ultimately opposing them using the government to force their belief system onto him, or to silence him so that they can believe the way they want to believe in comfort. That's an imposition, and it's encroachment on the First Amendment. If you ever read through it, this is the complete Bill of Rights. This is the drafts and debates, sources and origins. This is the notes from the congressional record, literally. This tells you what the founding fathers were debating when they drafted the First Amendment. It was ultimately about the right of conscience. And that's what this side is debating, is the right of conscience. I don't want to have to curtail my right of free speech and belief in the exercising how I act because you say I have to be silent in order for you to be happy. That is an encroachment on the right of conscience. And that's ultimately what's at the heart of this debate. So
without the most fascinating walk-offs I have ever seen.
This guy's not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you let me know.
Well, good day, sir.
This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
And he storms off, and everyone in the audience becomes just outraged by this, and they all go after Andrew Wilson. It's in this moment he decides, you know what? I'll just debate all of you.
Matt knew.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Like I said, there's going to be some starting and stopping. This is going to be a little bit of a disjuncted show. I got a lot going on in my head. What's going to happen here is Andrew Wilson's going to decide, like the gentleman said, he's going to just take on everybody. And I don't blame him. He should. And I've been in Andrew Wilson's position before. Only the room I've been in before had up to 110 students all hostile to me at the same time. I like this. And what I want to explain to you is real simple. One of the things I want you to keep in mind as we go through this video, and it's in all the links, it's in the description for the show and everything. You can go back and watch it without having to with me starting and stopping it if you want. But one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that Mr. Wilson has a plan here. In order for lies to be sold to people, it has to follow a tightly controlled script. And if you can get the people selling the lie off their script, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to respond. So they'll get angry and they'll immediately revert to ad hominem attack, personal attack. And that's going to be pointed out here in the video. And one of the ways you can get them, they've been taught to act like they've got the moral high ground, be calm, seem like the reasonable one, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a tactic that's used to try and put off their opponent. But what Andrew is going to be doing here is he's acting abrasive on purpose. Because when you do that, you rile up the other side's emotions and they get off their script. And once they're off their script, they don't know how to respond. And they'll end up attacking the person. And that's when you've won the debate. You may not have won the argument, but you've won the debate. By argument, I mean you may not have won the point. You might still be wrong. And they might still be right. But you've won the debate once they start to ad hominem. And what I want you to understand is this. Falsity must rely on a script. It has to stay on script. Falsehood must stay on message. Otherwise, it gets exposed. Whereas truth can and does thrive in chaos, which is why you're going to see a certain theme or cadence or formula in the way everything is put to Andrew, the way the guy who just stormed off and the way the students question him. There seems to be a formula to it. Well, that's because they're trying to stay on script, the script that they were taught in high school and college. Andrew can bounce back and forth however it comes at him because he's got truth on his side, and truth can thrive in chaos. So we'll go back and we'll continue here again.
I'll just debate all of you.
Matt knew what was coming. The next thing was just a simple question, and it would have led, unfortunately for him, to a place that nobody likes to go because societally it's become uncomfortable to tell the truth.
He just sits there and tells the audience point blank, you are being lied to. I mean, we are looking at the moment, I think, that Andrew Wilson became unstoppable.
To the question.
All right. Now, that was the intro to his video that I first found. That's the hook. Now we're going to go back and we're going to see what led up to this moment. So we're going to go back and we're going to watch how this got into this, and I'm going to let it play out for a little bit. And then I'll go back and I'll let, the moderator here, the commentator, I'll let him make his comments. And then I'm going to show you something else that just really got me going on this. So we'll go ahead and listen for just a minute or so here.
Unstoppable.
To the question of if a man could be a woman, they say the answer is yes. And the way we will decree they can be a woman is by simply saying that woman now means male.
Matt Dillahunty was the president of the Atheist Society, whatever that is. So he begins by claiming, with your worldview, you cannot make truth claims. And because you can't make truth claims, you're able to sell lies.
Why, you ask, would people be this over the top stupid? Well, it's simple. The good is the good, man. We have to do what's good for human society and human flourishing. And if you don't call these deranged lunatics something they obviously aren't.
And right there is the moment that Matt is using as the excuse for bailing.
They might sell.
All right. There's some background here. This is where I want to go back and forth and go back to this a little bit. Mr. Wilson, Andrew, the one who's speaking at this point, he's trying to get Matt Dillahunty, the gentleman who's about to walk off, the atheist, he's trying to get him to make a definition that's acceptable, to define anything, okay? But the atheist doesn't want to define things. There's a reason for this. Once they have given you a definition, they're tied down. They've been pinned. They can no longer squirm. They're no longer, it's no longer like nailing Jell-O to a wall. So part of their formula is never give a definition, because once they give you a definition, you can expose their lies and their muddled thinking. But, in this case, part of the background that I looked up after I ran into this thing, the atheist is what he calls himself a skeptic. And he says, well, you can't know anything. Well, if you can't know anything, why is he even talking? Because he can't know that you understand what he means. You can't know that you understand language. So this is actually ultimately the point that Andrew is trying to get the audience to understand, is that the person he's supposed to be debating, Matt Dillahunty, cannot define truth and will not. But even if he tries, he can't, because he keeps changing his definitions. And if definitions are not fixed, then truth changes with whatever. And what's actually going on here is the atheist is trying to speak truth into existence. And that does not work. This is an example of what I've been trying to tell you the whole time that you've been watching me on this show, that the atheist side, the secular humanist side, they think they're gods. And that's what's going on. So I'm going to let this play out a little more. I know that this is going to be jumbled, start and stop a lot. I got that. I understand that. That's going to be the nature of this show. That's the whole point of it. But notice how Andrew is going to keep trying to come back and harp on definitions. And the audience never once is going to acknowledge the point that he's trying to make. And it's a crucial point. I'll expand on this in a few minutes. Let's see if I can get this.
It might self-terminate, so in order to avoid that, we need to make everybody on planet Earth lie to them. This is human flourish. With that, I'll yield my time, and I'm happy to get into it.
Hey, James, I just sent you a message.
And he does the classic move. This is beneath me. I'm not even going to engage.
I'm not going to sit here and dignify the preparation that I went through and what people were here for.
You're so indignant.
Keep interrupting me.
I am.
Okay.
You're so indignant.
Would the moderator like to step in so that I can finish what I'm saying?
Please, Matt. Please. How dare someone have an opposing worldview?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify what was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world,
Yes.
with someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that.
Andrew is arguing that your worldview leads to false truth claims that no one will question. He's proving that by questioning it. And when he does question it, you shut down the entire debate, thus proving his point.
Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
And what's ironic is that Matt Dillahunty is self-terminating when questioned.
All right. This is the first point I really want to make. What Andrew Wilson just did was brilliant. Self-terminate. It doesn't necessarily mean commit suicide. It means, like today, the left will not murder you flat out right. I mean, they will, but that's not the first thing they try to do. The first thing they try to do is cancel you, isolate you, push you off to the side, make it to where you're no longer relevant, your voice can't be heard. And that's a form of a fallacy. It's appeal to force. It's like might makes right, and it's fallacious. Now this is one of the things that our the gentleman who's putting on this show, what's his Andrew, I mean, no, I meant Warren Smith, Mr. Smith. He doesn't name the fallacies. I'm going to do that for you. So this idea of ostracizing people, canceling them, that's a form of appeal to authority. And that's exactly what Mr. Andrew is really upset about, is they're trying to force their assumptions onto the rest of society. And their assumptions are falsehoods. So what he does here, this is supposed to be, which is better, Christianity or secular humanism? And Matt Dillahunty, the guy who's going to storm off, is saying, well, he doesn't even want to debate that. Yes, he does. This is at the very foundation of this debate. Secular humanism pushes the idea that a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man. Is that good for society? Andrew Wilson has every right. It is a legitimate attack against Matt Dillahunty, which proves that Matt, he knows this. I know he knows this. That's why he reacts the way he does. And Andrew Wilson is correct. Matt has to storm off because he knows the next question coming is going to prove that he's wrong across the board, and he loses the debate. He loses the whole thing, and he cannot afford to be exposed this way. He has run into somebody, in the case of Andrew, who knows exactly what he's about, knows exactly how to argue his case, but Andrew also knows Dillahunty's positions and what he's doing. And what Andrew does in this is sets Matt up to demonstrate Andrew's argument live in real time. In other words, this is a real life demonstration, an experiment. If I trigger you with the truth, will you self-terminate simply because I question you? And that's exactly what Matt does. He storms off. He terminated his side of the discussion. He ended it. He self-imploded. Now he does it, like I told you, in a way where, oh, I'm above this. I've got the moral high ground. I'm above this. He's a child. He's below me. Bull. A grown-up would stay in the room and school the child. Well, in this case, that's exactly what happens. The grown-up, Andrew, stays in the room and schools the children. So part of what you have to understand is Andrew's correct. He wants a definition. Let's look, and he's going to use this word lunatic. At this point, I'm going to drop the video down. We'll come back to it. But at this point, we're going to do a little homework. Let's go look at what we mean by insanity. Okay, definitions are important, right? Well, I'm in the American Dictionary of the English Language for a reason. And it says a lunatic. It's affected by a species of madness, supposed to be influenced by the moon. A person affected by insanity, supposed to be influenced or produced by the moon or by the position in its orbits. That's lunatic. Full moon brings out crazier people. That's where the word lunatic comes from. It's also known as moon madness in ancient older times. Okay, cool. What is a lunatic? Affected by wait a minute. That's not what I wanted. Well, I had a word up here, insanity. It just means of unsound mind. Let's go ahead and put that up there. Let's find it again. I want us to see this. Insane. All right, insane. Unsound in mind or intellect. Unsound, meaning you're drawing irrational conclusions. You can't think straight. Which mad, deranged in the mind, delirious, or distracted. Used by or appropriated to insane persons as an insane hospital. So there's various ranges of this. Now, why is all of this important? I found this page here. It's mind wellness. It's is insanity a mental illness? Understanding the legal versus medical difference. And what he's going to explain to us down here is something that I found in one of the World Encyclopedia book, and the little notes where my face is. You see, I've got that up. I looked that up published in the 70s. It says the same thing this does. Insanity is not a mental illness. It's a legal term. Really? That's not what the word meant in the Webster's time, back in the Founding Fathers' time. It was a mental illness. See, you won't find insanity listed as a diagnosis in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5. According to the American Psychiatric Association, mental illnesses are diagnosed conditions that affect thinking, mood, and behavior. Okay, so a mental illness is something that affects thinking, mood, and behavior. And then they're going to tell you that that's not a medical term. A medical term, okay. I'm sorry, this here drives me crazy. This is a fallacy. It's circular reasoning, and it's in our legal documents. It's in our medical system. According to the American Psychiatric Association, a mental illness is they're diagnosable conditions that affect thinking, mood, and behavior. But insanity, which is unsound thinking by definition, is not a mental illness. If you believe a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man, that is unsound thinking by definition. That's a mental illness according to the American Psychiatric Association. It affects your thinking. And if you are so sold out to that way of thinking that anybody who refuses to acknowledge your delusion sets you off emotionally, then your unsound thinking affects your mood. And if it causes you to act out violently or irrationally, it affects your behavior. That's a lunatic. That's insane by definition. What they have tried to do is change the definitions by changing the words without changing the form and function. Remember, insanity is not a medical definition, but something that affects your mood, your thinking, and your behavior is. Well, according to the word lunatic, it means somebody who is insane, and insane means of unsound thinking or mental process. Folks, by definition, all of these people on the trans side are insane. They are. So Andrew is using the word correctly, and they're going to go bat guanas over this. Now, real quick, since we're on the point here, gender. Okay, this is sex, male or female. That's how they're using it. Okay, fine. In Webster's time, male. Now, this is going to also pay attention to how definitions clear up problems. Say, well, how do we deal with the people who have birth defects and they got male and female genitalia? Pay attention. Male, pertaining to the sex that procreates young and applies to animals of all kind as a male child, a male beast, fish, or fowl, but also applies to plants. So apparently, people can be born gay, but plants can't. Okay. Female is where we get the clarity here. Among animals, one of that sex which conceives and brings forth children. Well, if you cannot bring forth a child, you are male, especially if you have XY chromosomes. If you can bring forth a child, you are female by definition. To argue with a definition has two things going on here. First of all, it basically means that you're of unsound thinking, because arguing with a definition is irrational by definition. But here's the other thing it does. When you argue with a definition, you're arguing with language. Language cannot be, okay, hang on, buckle up. This is going to seem counterintuitive. You're going to think at first, well, no, Joe, you're wrong. Language cannot be heard. You can't see it. You can't smell it. You can't feel it. You can't taste it. You cannot taste language. You can taste written words. Those are symbols. I mean, you can't taste. You can see symbols, but you can't see language. You can hear sounds, but you can't see language. This is because language is an abstraction, like mathematics. You don't see math. People don't stop to think about what is at the root of all of this, what it really is, what it really means, what it really represents. You don't see language. So where does your ability to animals? You have a cat. It hears the sound of the can opener. It knows it's time to eat. It comes running. The dog hears the cheese wrapper. That's association. The dog learns to come when you call its name. That's still association. It doesn't know what you're saying. It just knows that that sound means my owner wants me. I'm going to get love or a treat or something. It learns by association, and it learns to read your emotions and the tone of your voice, but it doesn't understand language. Why? Where does language actually come from? How does it work? Well, all of that is in the conscience, and we really don't know how the mind works. We claim we do, but we don't. What you have in language is an ethereal thing that cannot be defined by the five senses. And the moment that a skeptic like Matt Dillahunty acknowledges that point, he has lost the entire debate. Because now there is something in the world that is demonstrably true outside of the five senses, which means it's not an area that science can apprehend. That means he's lost his debate. Also, whenever he says that a male can become a female and a female can become a male, he's lost his debate again, because he has just declared an objective reality, an objective truth. He is declaring a truth. a truth that exists outside of the will of the person. If that is the case, then he loses again. And Andrew knows this. Everybody who claims that there is no such thing as objective truth is making a statement of objective truth. All no objective truth statements are self-defeating. They all prove by their assertion that there is an objective truth. This is why this man must run off the stage. If he stays, he's going to be made a fool of, and he knows it. He senses it. So he's got to boogie. He's got to go. Now, before we go to the bottom of the hour break, and when we come back, we'll listen to a lot more of this video. What you have to understand is what I'm trying to tell you. If I tell you there's no such thing as truth, I just made a truth statement. I just claimed that it is true that there's no such thing as truth. That is a contradiction. It cannot be true and not true at the same time. Truth cannot exist and exist at the same time. You are asserting that it doesn't exist, and at the same time, you're proving that it does through your exertion. You can't get both sides of the apple here on this one. You know, both sides of the coin at the same time. You can't do it. All right? It's just not allowed. The rules of this universe don't allow for this. Anybody who holds to this type of thinking, the dialectic or whatever it is, the cognitive dissonance, anybody who holds to that type of thinking is, by definition, of unsound mind. They cannot be trusted in their reasoning. And that is the definition of insanity, unsound thinking, especially when it affects your emotions and your actions. Well, we can't have that, because if that is actually a medical diagnosis, even though those are the form and function of insanity, according to what we just read, well, then the entire left is unsound mind. That could be a way to define leftist thinking of unsound mind. In other words, they're all mad, they're insane. From a biblical perspective, that is true. But from an atheistic perspective, it's still true. They just change who it is they deem to be of unsound mind. Now, mind you, they're not using logic. They're doing it simply by asserting their will or their desire and speaking it into reality. This is what Andrew is actually after. He's not using this language. I would be. And what he has actually done, he is debating secular humanism versus Christianity, because Christianity is based in truth. Secular humanism is based in a self-asserted lie, observable lie. So what he has done is gone straight to the foundation of Matt Dillahunty's entire argument. In a sense, he snatched his legs out from under him. And Dillahunty can't deal with it, so he leaves. When we come back, we'll see how the rest of the class reacts. We're going to take a 3-minute break at the bottom of the hour, please, Natasha, and we'll come back and we'll finish this. we're back.
Flees the debate.
Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Let's I'm going to put it back up. I'm going to back it up a little bit, and we're going to continue with our video here. And from this point forward, I'll be starting and stopping commentary. We'll get through as much of this video as we can in what time we have remaining. Just give me just a second here.
That's all it takes, saying, I think you're...
I want to stop that. I want to go back, and I want to just play a little bit more of this to remind you what's going on.
Shut down the entire debate, thus proving his point.
Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
And what's ironic is that Matt Dillahunty is self-terminating when questioned. He flees the debate. Really? That's all it takes? Saying, I think you're a lunatic?
All right, there's one other thing going on here, folks. This is a form of an attack on Matt. They're saying, well, he's just calling me crazy. It's a high-browed form of ad hominem attack, which is called against the man. It's an attack on the person. And that is when a debate is, Socrates says, when a debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. And that's essentially what we've got going on here, is that, okay, now you're going to have to attack the person specifically, and they're going to attack Andrew. And Nassim Nicholas Taleb, he also said, an ad hominem attack, also known as against the man, an ad hominem attack against an individual, not against an idea, is highly flattering. It indicates that the person does not have anything intelligent to say about your message. So, and this is true. Matt Dillahunty has no intelligent recourse to Andrew Wilson. So that's flattering. And notice how even Mr. Smith, Warren Smith, points this out. They never once address Andrew Wilson's points. They never address his argument. They can't afford to do that, because if they do, then Andrew really will take them apart then. So for somebody who understands logic and reasoning and critical thinking, this is beautiful. Andrew Wilson took this guy apart, and he's considered an expert in this. He took him apart, not piece by piece in his argument. He went right to his feet. He said, you know, why should I fight through the entire army when I can just take off the head of the king? And he did. And I am I'm drawn to that, because that's the way I always debated people. And I would find the foundation of your argument, take it out from underneath you, and the whole house collapses after that. Well, that's what's happened here. Let's continue with our video.
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal.
Yes, you heard that right.
Yes, he would not outlaw 9-year-olds having sex. As a secular humanist, he sees no problem with that. And I kind of tried to look into this. I don't see where Andrew Wilson misrepresented it. I couldn't find that, but he may have. I don't know.
I came in with positions that aren't just positions. That aren't merely my position.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position,
that's a fallacy. That's called the appeal to the masses, or bandwagon, or appeal to popularity. When you say, well, more people believe that than you do, that doesn't mean it's right. And that's a fallacy. And that, I don't know, he doesn't mention it. Nobody in this video once mentions the fallacies. But I wish they had, but they didn't. But this is also why Andrew kind of reacts the way he does, because he's like, oh, wow, use a fallacy against me. Big deal. There was a time when everybody thought blacks weren't human, or Jews. They still do. So I guess that makes it right? See, that's the point. And he's mocking Dillahunty. I don't know if he would do this to everybody, but Dillahunty, given the way he presents himself online and in the world of debate, he deserves to be mocked, because he's coming at this with an extremely weak position. And if you're going to put yourself forward as an authority, and then you're going to act like a child who doesn't know doesn't know the first things about reason, doesn't even know what a definition is, well, then I can't debate you. If you will not at least stick to definitions, you've renounced the use of reason. So why should I? Yes, he deserves to be mocked as a so-called self-proclaimed or recognized expert. That, in my opinion, deserves to be mocked.
I came in with positions that aren't merely my position.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position, it
This
makes it
guy's
valid.
not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you
Well,
let me know.
good day, sir.
No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be.
He has not trash talked anybody. He hasn't. He's been abrasive. He's been a little on the rude side, but Andrew Wilson has not gotten personal to anybody at all yet. He's attacked ideas and the foundation of their reasoning. So that's a false assertion. So again, this is a false claim. It's ad hominem attack.
Talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. This
Be smug? How is Matt not being smug here? You know, I'm above this. He's beneath me. That's smug. So he's going to accuse his accuser. And yes, Andrew is acting that way. But from watching some of his other videos, I think that in this particular one, it's used as a tactic and it's working. Now, it's not a logic tactic. It's a debate tactic. And they're going to claim that there was no debate, and there really wasn't here. But there wasn't a debate, but there was a takedown before it even got going. Andrew just decapitated his enemy before the battle was even engaged.
smug and all of the things that he's being right now. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
He is not able to engage at all with Andrew's logic. The audience jumps in once he's gone and tries. And Andrew decides, fine, I'll debate all of you.
If you guys would like to engage with Andrew and challenge his calling people lunatics, I am open to that if you guys would like to. Go ahead.
It's just so funny that this is all it takes for them to lose their minds. The audience is so biased. It's incredible.
So's the moderator, as you're going to see as we go forward. The moderator is also biased. They've all assumed that they're correct. Therefore, Andrew must be wrong. It's another fallacy.
So it seems like you lost the debate.
There was no debate. The student's going to say you lost the debate, even though there was no debate. And if he lost, why is he still the one sitting there at the table and the other guy ran off?
Biased. It's incredible.
So it seems like you lost the debate. It seems like you didn't have an argument to begin with. So I'd like to know.
Even though there was no debate, and Matt is the one who walked away from the debate.
So
Because I fled the debate stage?
Yeah, where's your degree in psychology?
Okay, that's another fallacy right there. I need a degree in psychology to have this. No, that's called appeal to authority. Watch how Andrew handles this. It's brilliant. And this student is demonstrating, if you understand logic and rational critical thinking, reasoning and critical thinking, if you understand the rules, this student is college student demonstrating to me that he doesn't know jack squat about reasoning and critical thinking. And Andrew's already brilliantly demonstrated that he does. He's a master of it. So, okay, so he needs a degree in psychiatry to address this. Watch how this gets handled.
To understand these concepts.
Do you need a degree in psychology to know what a man and a woman are, sir?
Well, apparently you need.
Hold on.
Just
Control. Please. I'm serious. I'm going to toss people if this gets out of hand. Seriously.
And they can't point to a single claim that he is wrong about other than, well, you're just mean, Andrew. It's like, okay, that's subjective. There's nothing I can do with that.
It's all lies. It's literally based on non-reality being subjectively interpreted as whatever you want. You can make bold claims.
Specific, please.
I'm giving you a specific one. If you, sir, believe that a man can be a woman and you can think that you can gaslight the entirety, are you going to let me answer the question or no?
Go ahead.
If you want to try to gaslight the entirety of humankind, that this falsehood actually exists in descriptive reality, and then say, well, that's science, and we rule with science, we rule with our mind, we rule with our brain. That's absurd. It's absurd. How in the world can you want a doctrine like that to run your life?
All right. What Andrew has done here is, yes, there's some background in all this. There's things that happened before this debate or this meeting got going. But what he's doing is he's attacking this idea that a man can become a woman. That's a secular humanist ideal. It is. It comes from secular humanism. So even if Matt Dillahunty did not believe that, he's still arguing for secular humanism. Now he's got this problem with, if secular humanism pushes that, how do you oppose that part of secular humanism and then promote whatever part Matt Dillahunty would promote? In other words, Andrew would have put Matt Dillahunty against himself. Now Matt would be debating Matt. And these students don't understand any of this. It's a case of in Christianity. Okay, let's attack Christianity. I'm a Christian. Well, nominally, anyway. Say, well, Christianity believes in murdering people. It's right there in the Old Testament. God told them to go kill all the Canaanites. Okay. Well, if you understand what was really going on there, that's not what God was telling them to do. He was telling them to kill off a certain specific bloodline because it wasn't fully human. Huh? Yeah. The Deuteronomy 32, Genesis 6, 1 through 4. That's what's going on. But what they'll say is, well, that can't be a good and just God. Or God allows evil, so therefore he can't be a good and just God. And the reason I'm going here is because Matt Dillahunty started out being a Baptist and wanted to become a preacher. And supposedly, after studying Christianity, he realized that all religions are false. Okay, I don't know how he got there, but he would put Christianity against Christianity at that point in his life. At that point, he was a Christian. At one point, he's a Christian arguing with Christianity. So, before he decided to become an atheist, he was caught in this conflict between, well, Christianity teaches this and teaches that, and they oppose each. Well, it doesn't. The Bible does not teach that. Okay, but somehow or another, Mr. Dillahunty, decided that it did. And that's him against himself. Now, hopefully, this is making sense to you. And that's going to happen whenever falsehood. This is what I mean by many paths to one truth. I and Andrew Wilson here and Mr. Smith, all of us would be able to argue the same truth from different directions. We would all arrive at the same conclusions. But if you're teaching lies, there is only one path to many lies. There's one formula to push different lies. And that's what's going to happen here. I'm going to push a path that Christianity says this, and I'm going to push a path that it says that, and I'm going to push a path that it says a third thing. It's one formula that pushes three contradictory assertions. And that's how you cause confusion. That's why falsehood leads to confusion. It's a diversity. It's entropy. It's increased entropy in your understanding of the world. That's why the world's going mad right now. That's why nobody can understand or believe anything or anyone, or nothing seems to be true anymore. That's increased entropy in the understanding of our world. That's because chaos and falsehood and lies have entered into our world. The pit's been opened, if you're a Bible believer. Whereas if I preach truth, we will all come together. It unifies, it centralizes, it decreases the entropy, the chaos within a sealed system. So this is what's at the heart of what's going on here. And they're going to claim that, well, you didn't even debate. Yes, he did. He so understood his enemy's position that Mr. Wilson went straight to his foundation, yanked the foundation out from underneath his house. And to his credit, Dillahunty understood enough to know, oh, God, I got to get the heck out of here. So he did. But he did it in a way that his biased audience would say, well, he won. Look, he had the high ground. No, he didn't win. He fled. If you flee the arena of ideas after making an ad hominem attack, you have conceded defeat. You've lost. If your position was actually that strong, you could have stayed and won. He didn't, because he knew he'd already lost. And that's because Wilson went straight after the heart of Dillahunty's entire argument. So let's continue.
How?
Where is that in the Secular Humanist Manifesto?
Okay, that's another tactic. Show me in the manifesto. He doesn't have to show you in the manifesto. It doesn't have to be a Secular Humanist Manifesto. And that's another thing. The Secular Humanist Manifesto, secular humanists always speak with two different languages. They write for the normies, the people like Andrew Wilson, or well, not even that. They write for the people who aren't really paying attention, but they mean something else. Okay, and they understand this. What Wilson did is he took the logical extension of the logic behind the entire secular humanist ideology, and he yanked out the foundation. So I don't care what your manifesto says. It's like saying, I don't care what the Constitution says. I went straight to the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so if you're going to make a constitutional argument that's wrong, but because of case law, you now say it's okay, like gun control is allowed because as long as it's rational. I'll go straight to the Declaration. No, it isn't. It's a natural right. You can't write a law against it. Okay, but Wilson did the opposite. What he did there is he inverted it. He went to the natural extension of a man can become a woman can become a man just because I say so. That's all based on the secular humanist assumption that truth is defined by man. That's what he did. He went after the idea that truth is defined by man, and he destroyed that claim. So it doesn't matter whether or not this is in the secular humanist manifesto. He destroyed the thinking behind the entire manifesto. And the student doesn't have the 2 gray cells necessary to understand what just happened right in front of his eyes. Doesn't want to. That's ultimately the problem. Let's back this up just a second or two and continue.
Secular Humanist Manifesto.
He has no descriptor for what is true. He has no justification for truth. Because he has no justification for truth, they can make up whatever they want as being a truth claim. In this,
that's when I tell you, from a contradiction, all things follow. If you cannot define truth, then whatever you say is true can be contradicted by somebody else in your school of thought. It's a contradiction. All things follow. That is literally, that is a logical definition of madness. Literal. Now, it may not be a clinical definition. That is a logical thinking definition of madness, which is why he calls him a lunatic. Now, the reason he seems to be, Mr. Wilson's is so frustrated with this student is this is a college student in a debate forum that runs on the rules of logic. He expects this student to have at least a modicum of understanding of this. And the student doesn't even he's not showing any indication he even understands what's happening. And this is frustrating for people who do. So I understand Wilson's attitude here.
For truth. Because he has no justification for truth, they can make up whatever they want as being a truth claim. In this case, they make up what is a man and what is a woman.
It's as though they have never encountered someone who's willing to be a bit abrasive and disagree.
I conceded his entire worldview to ask him one descriptive claim about reality, and he got so upset about the descriptive reality claim, he fled the room.
Exactly. He says, okay, I'm going to give you your entire argument, but I'm going to ask you one question. It's like playing Jenga. He said, okay, you're going to win the game as long as I can pull this one little stick out without your marbles falling. Well, Matt Dillahunty understood that if he pulls that stick out, all my marbles fell. So he had to flee the room.
And then one after another, they keep coming up to the microphone and taking their best shot.
All right. Next one coming in. Good luck to you.
True that the topic today was, will secular humanism beat Christianity, or was it about transgender?
No. The topic today was secular humanism versus Christian ethics. Christians have an ethical duty to tell the truth. And the secular humanist, does not.
True. That's absolutely true. Okay. A Christian is not supposed to bear false witness or tell lies. And the Messiah is truth. You're supposed to bear witness to the Messiah and be a representative of the Messiah. He's truth embodied, embodiment of truth. So yes, under the Christian ideology, you're supposed to speak truth. The secular humanist has absolutely no obligation to do that. If whatever the ends justify the means in a secular humanist ideology, because ultimately there is no truth and there is no penalty for there's no such thing as morality in their mind. Ethics, maybe the rules they can enforce, but no morality, nothing that you're going to be judged for in the hereafter.
As I just demonstrated live to everybody, they have absolutely no duty to tell anybody the truth about anything.
And he did that brilliantly right in front of them, and they don't get it. They are, to excuse the drill instructor term, they are stuck on stupid. And that's because they've been programmed. And he's asking them to get off of their program. Well, they cannot do that. Remember what I said earlier. You take falsehood off of its program, it doesn't know how to respond except by personal attack, anger, and if necessary, physical attack.
None.
And this is the deeper truth beneath all of this. What's more is that he's demonstrating it with a clear example, but the example causes everyone to just flee.
Given that this clearly wasn't the topic and you've been bodied.
But it was the topic. Which is better for, see, that's another thing. Again, another fallacy. This student should be failed. If they're in any type of class with reasoning, critical thinking, F0. Somewhere along the line, you missed the definition of true and false. The very foundation of logic, reasoning, critical thinking, debating. is the secular human ethic better or is the Christian ethic better? Well, if you're going to say a man can become a woman can become a man, that's a truth claim. That is very much a legitimate target for Andrew Wilson. Now, to say, no, it can't be, you're trying to define what weapons he can use in his debate. That's a fallacy. That's also a form of force against your opponent. And it tells me that you have the losing hand.
On the issue before, including by nominal Naomi a year ago. Why not
that dude got wrecked
on a new topic instead?
Just look at the people in the audience, the expressions on their faces. They're just like, oh, I can't believe I'm witnessing this.
I literally went through and said, these people have no justification for their beliefs at all. Could have gone after that. I went on to further explain, here's how I can demonstrate that they have no justification for any of their claims. Here's how I can demonstrate they don't have truth on their side. Because I can show an example in real time of these people completely and totally lying to you. Totally lying to you. And so many of you in the audience are like, how dare you? I'm not saying anything incorrect here.
Notice nobody has once challenged a truth claim that Andrew Wilson's making or given an example of how he's lying. Not once. That's an admission that you have nothing. You've lost. So all they're doing is now attacking him.
You're being lied to. I'm sorry.
This is a real thing. People do get enraged by the idea of discussing objective truth. Had a conversation with Destiny as a result of this. That was the conflict. Warren thinks there's such a thing as objective truth.
Do you have positive relationships with your family members?
Ad hominem attack.
Like, I'm just asking, like, do you have people that love you in your life?
And the best that they can do is resort to the person rather than the logic. Do you have anyone in your personal life that loves you? It's just, what are we doing?
I don't. It's a sad tale.
This is sarcasm, folks, but they're going to think that he's telling the truth. He's being sarcastic. But they go, oh, well, see, you have nobody that loves you.
Okay, well, then I can understand your worldview better.
It's a sad tale.
Wow.
This is hilarious. The moderator tries to paint the false picture that there was a vote taken and the audience disagrees with you, Andrew. Therefore, you have lost the debate that never even happened.
We got another.
I just will note that when we took the second vote, at least one person that voted for the Christianity worldview did not vote the second time.
Oh, well, then I guess in the opinion of the biased people in the room, then that means I lose then.
This is the appeal to authority. But also what's going on is the person who originally says, okay, Christianity is better. When they take the second vote, the moderator says they didn't even vote. They didn't vote for the other side. They just didn't vote. You know what that is? That's a weak believer caving to peer pressure. That's force makes right. They're using force to make it right. Yes, ma'am?
Just wanted to say, at this point, it's pretty obvious the moderator is biased, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is it possible that he could just be making this up as well?
Oh, yeah. Wait. Let's keep going because he's about to say something I really don't believe. Let's keep going before we end the show.
He tries to claim that there are objections coming from online.
You do have objections from online. So some of these might be for Matt, in which case Matt obviously is not here to respond. So I'm not going to read if it's for Matt.
But once he digs into the comments, he realizes, oh, they're all in favor of Andrew. And then he just won't read them out.
This one is from, let's see. Actually, a lot of these are more of these are from Matt than I expected.
That's because they're supporting him.
I don't think the questions that we have from online are a substantive or related. So if anyone has questions in the in-person audience, otherwise I think go ahead.
He's just desperate to find someone who can say something to actually contend with Andrew.
Not only is it like intellectually lowbrow, but as a fellow Christian, calling people lunatics, it doesn't seem productive.
All right. That as a fellow Christian, that's a form of a fallacy. You're basically saying, well, I'm just like you. I'm on your side and I'm telling you you're wrong. It's a form of a fallacy. All right. If you're told to tell the truth, Christianity does that. Lunatic has taken on a negative connotation in our culture. But it used to be, once upon a time, a technical term. It was. And that's where it comes from. Luna, Luna meaning moon. Tick, it's an insanity. It's mass hysteria type of thing. And it's still to this day, people will say, well, there's been no scientific proof that the moon does anything. And yet every ER people will tell you that, yeah, there seems to be a correlation. Full moon, crazy people, lots of weird things happen. Police tell you the same thing. Seems to be something to it. Okay. I don't think it's physical. I think it's spiritual. But anyway, by claiming, well, because I'm a Christian too, and I disagree with you, that's a form of a fallacy. And it still does not attack his position. And then to say, well, you're using abusive language and a Christian shouldn't do that. Okay. Well, why? Why? Why should a Christian not use abuse? He never once got personal. The man did not get personal. Now, the people who are having their worldview destroyed might have thought it was personal, but he did not get personal. So why would you say, well, I'm a Christian too, and I still think what you're doing is wrong? But I don't care if you don't like the truth. A Christian is told to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth will wound. And the Bible says that. The Bible will say, better a truth that wounds or a friend who wounds than an enemy who lies or applies Saul, tries to make you think he's something he's not. Well, sometimes it takes harsh language to get through to people. But in this case, if I call somebody a moron, let's say I've got somebody who's got an IQ of 65. You're a moron. Oh, you're being so cruel to the guy with the mental handicap. No, moron was once upon a time an actual medical term for somebody with an IQ of between 60 and 80. Go look it up. Imbecile used to be there are other terms that, and what happens is, used to be handicapped. Well, I can't say handicap now. Now, disabled. Folks, disabled has taken on the same negative connotation that handicap did. It's not the word. It's the form and function behind it. This is the problem that the people that are being defeated here, the secular humanist worldview, this is their problem. They don't understand that language is not controlled by man. They're just like mathematics. It's not, you can manipulate it, you can use it, but you cannot control the underlying foundational principle. It's universal, it's eternal. It's logic. It's a form of logic. Logic cannot be controlled by man. And the minute that this side, Matt Dillahunty's side, concedes that, yeah, there are things in the world that exist outside of the five senses that are not within man's control, he loses the secular humanist worldview. And he comes face to face with the logical conclusion that there is a creator and a lawgiver. And now he's lost his entire worldview. And even if he did it abrasively, it wasn't ugly and insulting. It was just a tactic to get the man off of his pre-programmed script. And I accept it. Even as a Christian, I would accept it. I do it. You've seen me do it here on this show. It's a necessity for the sake of the audience listening who might hear and respond. Yes, ma'am.
Just want to point out, there's a huge deal over Andrew using the term lunatic. Whereas when Matt leaves, he straight up calls him an explicitive. And There's nothing about that.
Oh, yeah. No. The audience is entirely biased. Entirely biased. They've assumed he lost the debate that never took place. Yes. So you've seen what I'm trying to get at here today. So, all right, we're going to wrap this one up. This was a little different. I'd like to get a little feedback on this. If you've got a few minutes, give me an email real quick. I've got admin at We Who Are Lost up there. It didn't stick. I did change it to Joe at the Road to Concord. You can email either one. Admin, We Who Are Lost, Joe at the Road to Concord. But I'd like to know whether or not you enjoyed what we did today. Because if you did, I might make this a little more, do these shows a little more often. And not just with Warren Smith's videos, but we might get into some of Jordan Peterson's videos or Dinesh D'Souza's. I'll stick to those who understand logic and do a good job with it. It'll all be about reasoning and critical thinking. And it'll all be to show you how you do this and why it's important. So if you liked what we did, drop me a quick email and just let me know what you think about what we did today, because I had a lot of fun today. Comment on the board here from Abupa73. Transgender and transhumanism is Kabbalah? ? To become you yourself as a god. I don't know, because I don't study Kabbalah, but I have read people who have studied it say that it is what they call Jewish Gnosticism, but it predates Judaism. It's Hebrew Gnosticism. And Gnosticism is about becoming a god through transcendent knowledge and learning the secret knowledge of the universe. So if that's the case, then yes. Gnosticism is a more general term that Kabbalah would fall under. Gnosticism just means knowledge. A combined knowledge. Secret knowledge is hidden knowledge. Is not it. Essentially, if you're a Bible believer, it's the knowledge that the fallen angels taught mankind when they stepped down onto Mount Hermon. Genesis 6, 1 through 4, the Enochian material, that stuff. That's the Deuteronomy 32 worldview. It's all the stuff that the fallen angels taught us that makes you a god. And yes, it's not fake, folks. It makes you an Elohim. Not God in the sense that you are Yahweh, the God creator, but it'll make you like the angels, other Elohim. So it's not a false claim. It's just not an absolutely clear claim that they're making. Yeah, you'll become like an Elohim, but an Elohim can't make the world, can't make the laws that run the universe. You're not the creator. And you can end up dying just like a human being does as well. Psalm 82. So that's something you have to understand, that the word God gives the wrong connotation in the English language, mostly because of our monotheistic heritage. If we were back closer to the days of Rome, God would have a closer understanding, closer meaning to Elohim, or Eloah in the Hebrew, which is an equivalent word. But in the Hebrew, it was more a descriptor. You lived in the spirit world. Well, when God first came apart, that's what it meant, a spiritual being. That's why you have God Most High, or El Elyon, the Most High spiritual being, the creator. So, yeah, this secret knowledge and everything, that's what it gets into. Anything else? All right, let's get out of here. We've run a little late. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow, we're in the next 2 chapters of Genesis. Wednesday, we'll be in Jeremiah. Thursday, we'll continue our study on Islam. We're going to look at the Quran and the Hadith. Friday, we'll be back in the Scepter and the Birthright. This time, I'll make sure I get the correct chapter. Not that the one we skipped was really all that important. I went back and reread it, and we didn't miss anything major. But if you'd like to see another show like this next week, I need a couple of emails telling me whether it made sense, didn't make sense, whether it was profitable to you or not. I don't want to waste your time. So if you want me to just go back to doing the headlines and bashing on political people, we could do that too, because I'm all for that as well. Yes, ma'am.
The Thunder Twins are on board, it looks like.
Well, yeah. They probably want me to move over so that they can take a couple shots at these people. All right. Josh Webb, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let me get out of here. We thank you for being here. If you like what we're doing, hit the like buttons, please. Share the show if you feel led to do so. Highly recommended that you go watch or maybe even subscribe to Mr. Smith's channel. It's in the description pages, either on Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook. I put the links there for you, but highly, highly recommended. Good watching right there. Just like right now, I would watch Steve Deace's show, DEACE, on Rumble. He is a Christian worldview oriented political commentator. He's probably the best available to you at this point in time. Mainstream Christian church. He's Protestant. His producer's Protestant. His co-host is a Catholic. They share each other's worldviews. They explain things. And for the most part, they're fairly solid. I don't agree with everything, but, none of us do. But the politics is he's better than Rush Limbaugh ever was. And he used to be an insider. He has run campaigns in the Republican Party in the state of Iowa before. So he knows what he's talking about. But he's good. So if you're looking for a political commentator or show, go watch those on demand. Watch Mr. Smith's videos, and I'll have a couple others for if you want for Peterson, Jordan Peterson, and then we'll introduce you to Dinesh D'Souza too if we continue doing this. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the show, hit the like buttons. I want to let you know real quick, I'm standing on Mr. Smith's back here. You know, it was his video that encouraged this. Go watch the whole thing. You know, I don't want to take his thunder. Hopefully, I'm going to point you to his program. He does good work, and I'm not going to address each and every one of his videos. He does really good work, and he's right for the most part. He just doesn't give you the names of the fallacies, but he does explain them. I just wish he'd go further, and that's okay. He may not have the formal background to know how to do it, but he does know reasoning and critical thinking. He does. He's good. And you should read that article about how he got fired for. That's the type of teacher that should be in our schools, and that's the type they purge. Why? Because you'll go to jail if I shoot him in the head, so I'll just fire him and take his livelihood away from him and hopefully shut him up in the process. What happened, though, is they made his YouTube shows even stronger. So he's probably making more money now than he was before. But the students don't have his skill anymore and his expertise. That's on purpose. So until we see each other again, we love you. We thank you for being here. Y'all take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.